Hey class, my name is Cam Yokman.
My name is Allison Martin.
And my name is Roger Sun.
Today we will be reading you our TED Talk on Ted's lifetime of reading. Our story begins when Ted is in first grade. When Ted was just a little boy, he loved playing with everybody. He played with anybody that was willing to play with him. One of Ted's playmates was Muhammad. Ted and Muhammad had always been good friends and played together every day. After school, they would go to Muhammad's house where Muhammad's parents would watch them play basketball. One day, when he returned home from school, he was gifted the 9/11 coloring book from his mom.
Happy birthday, Ted. Thanks, Mom.
That night, he stayed in his room reading and coloring.
OMG, I love books.
Ted saw figures in the book that looked like Muhammad and his family, and the violent images scared Ted. Ted wondered,
I can't believe people like Muhammad did this. I feel like I can't trust them anymore. Am I in danger?
Ted no longer played with everybody, and he was cautious with whom he associated himself with.
Hey, Ted. We can't be friends anymore. What? Why? People like you do bad things.
At 18, Ted was accepted into the Harvard School of Business. He wanted to be a businessman, and money was the only thing on his mind.
Nothing will stop me from getting rich.
For the next 3 years as a college student, Ted did whatever he could to get ahead. He screwed people out of their money, accepted bribes, and committed fraudulent activities in order to get rich. His tunnel vision also caused Ted to isolate himself from friends and family and focus solely on acquiring material wealth. Entering his senior year at Harvard, Ted took a creative writing course and was required to read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. He found many parallels between the main character, Jay, and himself.
I want to get rich just like Jay Gatsby.
But Ted's partner, Robin, hoped that Ted would not go down the same path as Jay. Similar to Mr. Gatsby, Ted was deceitful, and his morality was tainted by his longing to fulfill his role as a successful businessman. Ted finished the novel and realizes that if he continues down the same path as Jay Gatsby, he will die as a lonely man and regret allowing his wealth to infect his moral righteousness.
Jay and I are so similar, but I don't want to end up like him. I want people to come to my funeral and love me. Maybe money isn't so important after all.
Ted is now 35 and he is dating his college sweetheart, Robin. Robin accidentally gets pregnant. Robin, a devout Christian, does not want to get an abortion. However, Ted was instructed that it is wrong to have a child with a partner that you are not married to. Ted keeps pressuring Robin into getting an abortion. She keeps saying no and that she'll do what she wants since she is the one carrying the baby.
Ted, I'm pregnant. I don't think we are ready to be parents. What other option do we have? Maybe an abortion is the best solution.
Robin to have an appointment at the abortion clinic, and in the waiting room he spots the short story Hills Like White Elephants. While reading it, he realizes all of the stress he is causing for his girlfriend and how unhealthy it is.
I never realized how emotionally draining this process can be for a woman. Robin doesn't deserve to go through this.
He decides that he should give Robin the choice of what she does with her body, and they collectively make the decision to ignore societal pressures and have the baby. Although Ted feels like they may not be ready to have a baby, he decides that saving the baby's life is more morally correct than getting it aborted. They give birth to a beautiful baby boy named Toby.
Let's name him Toby.
16 years later, Toby is a junior in high school, and he is instructed by the wonderfully and inspirational teacher Suji to read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. He knows that his father is very fond of reading and asks him for help on his book report.
Hey, Dad, can you help me with my book report? Sure. What book is it? The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Oh, I haven't read it in a while.
Ted read this book when he was younger, and he decides to go back and reread the classic novel. He notices how Huck did not discriminate Jim based on his appearance, even though it was against the law to be involved with slaves. He solely judged Jim based on his character, and this reminds him of how he cut off Muhammad back in first grade. Ted reflects on his past decisions and decides to look for Muhammad to offer him an explanation on what happened and try to rekindle their friendship.
It's nice to see that Huck overcame racial barriers of the time to help Jim. Maybe I can see past the racial biases I experienced in my own life. I wish I had known this before I cut ties with Muhammad.
Ted researches Muhammad's location and learns that he had passed away. He visits the gravesite and ponders on how his young and naive mind allowed his morality to be infected by the discriminatory 9/11 coloring book.
I'm glad I read Huckleberry Finn, Great Gatsby, and Hills Like White Elephants because they shaped me to improve my morality and make me a better person. I wish I had never read that 9/11 book.
He returns home and instructs his son Toby to read literature so that he can be more aware of the morally flawed society that we live and avoid making the same mistakes that Ted once made.
Toby, I want you to read more literature so that you can realize society's moral flaws. It is important to be aware of the problems surrounding you, and hopefully reading will help you to avoid being tainted by the negative societal influences.
Our interpretation of why we read literature is so that we can learn new perspectives and interpret them into shaping our morality.